Folks, welcome aboard. Extremely fired up to be here. Thanks, Renee, for inviting me. And let's go ahead and get airborne. I'm going to talk, and again, I only have 45 minutes, so if you feel like you're drinking from a fire hose, that's to be expected. But I'm going to talk about fading this Trump rally and getting long volatility. And how do I know? How am I an expert at this? I was one of the only, Jeffrey Gunlock from Double Line Capital, and I think one or two other hedge fund managers got it right. I predicted that Trump was not only going to win the election, but the market would rally 5 to 10%. Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, Morgan Stanley, you couldn't swing a dead cat without everybody saying Hillary was going to win, and if Trump wins, the market implodes 20%. They were all wrong, but now the guy who got it right, one of the few, is getting ready to fade this thing because it's getting nuts. All right, so let's go ahead and get airborne. As Renee said, my name is Matthew Buckley. My call sign is Wiz. I think my parents like me. That's obviously not my God-given name. I earned that call sign as I flew the F-18 Hornet for about 15 years for the United States Navy. Graduated from the Navy Fighter Weapons School that many of you know as Top Gun, and also flew 44 combat sorties over Iraq. Breaking news yesterday from Tom Cruise, Top Gun 2 is coming out. A little cheesy. I had to say that. How to go from the cockpit to the trading pit. Some of the methodologies I'm going to teach you today that were honed over the skies of Iraq, I took to literally Wall Street. I popped up on the radar of one of the largest volatility arbitrage options trading firms in the country, headquartered right there, the intersection of Jackson and Sally. You see these big vertical windows? I was the managing director of strategy for Peak 6 Investments. Incredible time. It was an absolute blast. No offense to anybody from Chicago. Hated it 9 months out of the year because I'm a beach guy. So, and I felt literally like Valentine in trading places. A little old, a retail trader makes it big, and we absolutely made it huge. Helped run Peak 6 Investments, a $2.5 billion vol arb firm, and then many of you, if you remember, like 2008 to 2009-ish, 2007 to 10-ish. I started the Options News Network, ONN.TV, kind of the CNBC for options, right? And had an absolute blast doing that. So that's a little bit about me. I moved down here. I'm down here in Fort Lauderdale right now, Florida. So that's why, no offense to the people up there in Chicago, you can keep your winners, man. So I trade down here, and I'm the founder and CEO of Top Gun Options. I'm in the middle of a big week this week. It's called Options Weapons School. I did a webinar this morning for some prospective new members, and I'm going to cover the trade that I went through with them because it's time to get long vol. This is ridiculous. The VIX below 10 yesterday is stupid cheap, and it's priced in that absolutely nothing is going to go wrong in the next 30 days. If you believe that, I gotta, pull this leg and plays jingle bells. Here's what I'm going to do real quick. My 2016 performance, I'll show you the year-to-date performance when I pull up one of the portfolios. Best portfolio last year that you could get access to, the PLTB, the Primary Live Trade Brief, 125% return on risk. These are $100,000 model portfolios. They initially were $188 last year. Our weekly options model portfolio, 121 grand, 106% return. And then you ready for my worst portfolio in 2016? 101%, the accelerated retirement portfolio. Had one JP Morgan trade that I closed for a $35,000 profit. Remember, the financials were languishing going into the election. I said, folks, you got to buy Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan with both hands. I had at least 5 members who made $150,000 on one Goldman Sachs trade. They traded more contracts than I did. They did 20, I did 5, because that's my SOP as far as risk. But we're having an absolute blast here at TGO, folks. Real quick, here's what I'm going to do in my short time. Here's the methodology which the military operates and which we operate here at TGO. You're very tactical, folks. The hundreds and hundreds of folks that are in this room right now, you wake up, you put on your bunny slippers, take a sip of coffee, and you watch CNBC, which I call Comedy Central, and you're like, okay, well, that guy, don't know what Tesla is. I kind of follow it. The guy's got a good looking suit on, good hair. I'm going to buy Tesla. And then the next week you're broke. You're very, very tactical. You don't know what you're doing out to January of 2019, let alone for lunch today. Here's what I'm going to do today. Give you a quick strategic brief, literally around the globe, man. What's going on in North Korea, China? How about the president's trip? What's going on with OPEC? So a global brief. And then I break it down to the operational level about what's going on here in the United States. What did the Fed minutes say yesterday? How are earnings looking? What are the durable goods report? University of Michigan numbers, Q2 GDP, all the operational stuff here in the United States. And then, and only then, can we get tactical and trade. A lot of you don't even look at any of this other stuff, and then when you wake up and the futures are down 100 to 200 points because Kim launched another missile, and you get blown out. That doesn't happen here at TGO. Real quick, I think now I can give this to you later. This is our 7-step trade plan. A lot of you sitting here today hear folks like this present at one of these things or out at the airport Marriott, and hey, you need a trade plan, and you ask them for one, and they say thank you, good night, try the deal, and walk off the stage. That sucks. Here, take a little screenshot on the screen you're seeing this slide on. There's a little camera. If you click it, I think it saves it to your desktop or my documents. Save this trade plan because I'm going to go through it in a couple minutes and put on a bullish double vertical on volatility. So here's my 7-step trade plan. You have to determine your strategic mindset. What are you right now? And you can only be one of 4 things. You can be bullish, you can be bearish, you could think the market's going to be volatile all over the place, or you could be neutral. Right now, my strategic mindset is neutral, and I'll show you why. Then you identify the target, the stock, the ETF, the index you want to trade. Today, our target is going to be VXX, Victor X-ray X-ray. Step 3 in my trade plan, you have to develop commit criteria. Literally 3 to 5 sentences, like the elevator pitch if you're in sales. 3 to 5 sentences of why you're committing capital to this trade, okay? And I'll give you my commit criteria in a couple minutes for volatility. Then we select the tactic. If you learn nothing from me today, which would be professionally embarrassing, you're going to learn this. There is no such thing as an options strategy. All right, dude, you had me until this point. The Iron Condor is my favorite strategy. You're wrong. Well, you don't know me. Well, no, you're wrong in your terminology. Saving for college, short-term income generation, managing risk, buying a boat in 6 months. Those are strategies, folks. An Iron Condor, a double vertical, selling covered calls. Those are tactics. Tactics support a strategy. Get the terminology right. Then I'm going to talk about the tactical employment of the trade. With the bullish double vertical, this is a tactic that many of you have never seen before, and it's a pretty cool trade. So I'm going to talk to how to employ this trade. And then I go through the mid-course guidance of the trade. What could we talk about? You know, I never dropped a bomb in anger, folks, or squeezed the trigger on a trade with real capital and close my eyes and cover it with my hand and go, wow, I hope that bomb hits where it's supposed to and bad guys, or I hope this trade makes money, and you just close your eyes. No, man, we need to update this thing and have mid-course guidance. So, hey, if the trade's going against me at this point, what do I do? If it's going for me at this point, what do I do? And that dovetails nicely into the last step. You have got to identify, this is the Colin Powell step, folks. When Bush, the senior, said, get Iraq out of Kuwait, he's like, yeah, okay, I can do that. When do we declare victory? When are we getting out of this? He wanted to know before he even started planning, what's the exit point? Very smart man. That's how you should trade as well. I'm going to get out of this trade if it hits X, Y, and Z in profit. I'm going to get out of this trade from in-loss if it hits here. And then the top left of my slide, you can see it. Discipline, risk management, they result in superior execution. Many of you aren't disciplined. You fly right through your low fuel warning light that you said in the brief, you know what, if that happens, I'm going to turn towards home. And you keep flying and go, no, I can stretch it a little longer. And then you flame out a mile short of the runway. Don't do it. You're going to be broke. So here's what I'm going to do. Quick strategic brief. Actually, let me open my Options House platform here. So I got that ready. I helped build Options House when I was up at Peak 6, so I kind of have an affinity for it. But you can trade with whoever you want if you become a member here at TGO at Top Gun Options. So let me bring up this platform. I'll give you a quick strategic brief, operational brief, and then we're going to take a look at the VXX bullish double vertical. All right, so good on time. Let me do this and then get to this quick strategic brief, folks. This is nuts. I'm just gonna, this is absolutely nuts. Like I said, we nailed everything in here, folks. This is a hope and change rally, not to steal the phrase from the Manchurian candidate who was president. This is a hope rally. This is a rally saying we hope Trump can institute all the cool things that he wants to do: tax reform, infrastructure spending. Well, I said tax reform, all the good stuff, reducing regulatory regulations, right? Gutting Franken-Dodd. Now we're in a holding pattern, folks, until we see the change. Here's the Obamacare implosion. And don't think I'm some dyed-in-the-wool Trump supporter, folks. He lost me right around here when he said Kim was a smart cookie and I'd be honored to meet with him. Done. I think the guy's crazy. I like his policies. They're great for the market. Wrong vehicle. Here's the idiot Republicans, folks. They successfully voted to repeal Obamacare 60 times under Obama and then failed under a Republican. Come on, guys. So there's an implosion on the Obamacare stupidity. Here's the implosion on the Comey memo. There is so much bad in this market, folks. You ready? Here we go. China, Moody's downgraded them the other day. And again, this is the strategic brief, and it's going to be quick. Usually in my regular trade briefs, we do 1.5 hours to 2 hours. So each one of these chunks is like 15 minutes strategic, 15 operational, and then we trade the rest of the time. So if it sounds like I'm on Jolt Cola and a Red Bull, you're right, plus some coffee. So Moody's cutting China's credit rating. That ain't good, folks, for the first time since we were partying like it's 1989. So China's slowing down a little bit. They're a massive importer of what? Commodities, copper, oil, all sorts of stuff like that. And they're a massive what? Hopefully buyer of Apple products. So a slowing China ain't necessarily good for us. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, China's our banker. If you're not bullish on your banker, well, why are you taking a loan from them, man? So China's on my radar. Terrorism, folks, but this is sad. You ready? The day after the terrorist attacks, trader appalled at the market reaction to the Manchester bombing. It's more to life than the next few basis points. Nobody cares about this, folks. Isn't that sad? I'm not, and I wear 2 suits at Top Gun Options. I wear a flight suit as an American, man. I got red, white, and blue cowboy boots sitting across the room. I'm laughing because I'm American. But I also, as a portfolio manager at Top Gun Options, I'm Gordon Gekko. I wear a $6,000 Armani suit. I don't, but you get my point. I'm going to talk to you as an American about stuff I hate, I like, and everything like that. But at the end of the day, for example, I'm bullish on Russia. We're long the RSX. I can't stand Putin. I think he's awful. I think there's a lot of bad stuff from the dude. But you have to be bullish on a guy that does whatever the hell he wants to do. I'm going to invade Crimea. Anybody got a problem with that? No? How about Eastern Ukraine? How about we do this with oil? How about we do whatever? So when you become a member, I'm going to show you some hold your nose trades. Here's another one. Brazil. We got long the EWZ last Thursday with the presidential crisis down in Brazil. That trade already is up $5 and extremely profitable for a lot of our members. So there are hold your nose trades where we have to be Gordon Gekko. But I'll put my flight suit on and tell you how I feel as an American. This is crazy, folks. You will wake up one day and the futures will be down 1,000 points. This is going to end horribly. The only way this ends well with Kim Jong-un is a couple SEAL teams airdropped in and put a bullet in his head. Otherwise, something goes bump in the night. There's 15,000 artillery pieces pointed at Seoul, South Korea. One of those guys sneezes and 4 million people are dead and about 80,000 U.S. troops. Do you think this ends with this guy giving up his nuke program, his nuke weapons? Of course it doesn't. He sees Saddam at the end of a noose. He saw Gaddafi at the end of a bayonet, not to be gross. He's not going to give those up. Even China is telling us, like, hey, guys, we can't sit on our crazy, nephew anymore. He's not listening to us either. How do you think it ends? With Trump backing down? So, folks, if you're not thinking about all this bad that could go on, you're smoking the hopium. This is ridiculous. And if anybody's seen the movie Wall Street, it's Gordon Gekko was modeled after this guy, Asher Edelman. He said it's the plunge protection team, man. Reagan started this after the financial crisis of '87, and they stepped in to be a buyer of last resort. Same thing happened in 2008, folks. So the invisible hand of the Fed, of the government, of the plunge protection team, this is ridiculous. Right now, it's a short squeeze. Between yesterday and today, a lot of people were short when we went through 2,400 and said, yeah, now that we hit it, it's time to get back to reality here. It isn't. I know nobody, folks. I'm the chief development officer in a hedge fund. It's a private placement, so I really can't talk about it too much. But know this. I'm on the phone all day, Skype, texting. I know nobody who's deploying any capital in this market this high. Not me, of course. I'm an options trader. I don't care if the market goes up, down, or sideways. Matter of fact, I love this stuff. I love movement. But there is nobody. If you went to the best performing hedge fund and said, hey, here's 500 million bucks, man, make me some money, they'd give it back to you. There's nowhere to put it. We are hypoxic up at this altitude, man. We are at Mount Everest, and it's nuts. So And here's the other thing. Look at this. Here, the green is the S&P 500, and then the U.S. macro index, you know, the economic data. We kind of been flying formation for a while here. Now look at this. The macroeconomic data suck. The economy is softening. There's the S&P 500, folks. When these, I didn't say if, I said when these two lines intersect, it's going to be violent and it's going to be ugly. Okay? Now, before we get tactical and start trading and place this trade, I'm already filled on it, like I said, but I'll show you the trade. Look at this headline from the Journal the other day. Why Donald Trump doesn't scare the market. Well, the market was pretty freaked out right there with Obamacare failure. The market was freaked out that he's going to be impeached. But look at the second headline. The VIX has stayed low, not because the market isn't worried, you ready? But because it doesn't know what to worry about. Read that, let that sink in. I just probably scared the hell out of all of you, like, oh my God, I don't want to trade anything anymore. I'm buying some puts and heading to a cave. No, don't. I'm gonna make, when, not if the market implodes, I'm gonna pound the hell out of it into the dirt with bearish double verticals. But folks, the market doesn't know what to be worried about. Here's a prime example. When the Comey memo thing happened, smart people take a deep breath and look at the facts. Here's the facts. First of all, it came out later that day that Washington Post reporter's like, well, I actually didn't see the memo and it's an anonymous source. That's what passes for news nowadays, guys, is an anonymous source and a memo I never saw. That caused an implosion in the market. Now, another 15 minutes later, I'm sitting there thinking about this. I'm like, wait a minute. A month ago, James Comey testified in front of the Congress and said, to a direct question, like, has anybody influenced you or told you to shut anything down? Nope. So he's either a felon or he's a felon. There's no two choices about Comey. Why do you think he can't? He was last week, he's like, I'm going to come and testify. Gone. He's not testifying because he either committed perjury when he said that, or as the top law enforcement officer in the country, the president tried to influence him and was it obstruct justice? He should have pulled out his FBI badge and arrested his ass right there. He didn't. So folks, he's either a felon or a felon. And when I figured all that out, I said, this isn't the big one. This isn't the Fred Sanford, I'm coming, Elizabeth. This is a get on board. And we did. And I'll show you the trade, or when you sign up, I'll show you the trades. We printed money on this snapback rally. Now, again, it's out of airspeed, man. This is a short squeeze, and it's going to be over here. Hey, Steve, I couldn't agree more, man. Journal, it's dead. I knew the journalists were in the tank as whatever, 85, 90% of them in the most recent survey from Harvard said they identify as Democrats. Are you kidding me? Nobody can be that fair and impartial. It's such a, and now they've really doubled down, haven't they, Steve? With they're overplaying their hand. And I think for me to say a kind word about Nancy Pelosi means go buy a lottery ticket. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but she's a smart politician, because when the Comey thing blew, she's like, wait, everybody just calm down. Let's get the facts. She wasn't being impartial. She was, the number one rule in Washington is when your enemy is imploding, get out of the way. The scandal a day thing, the market is starting to tune it out, right? So they're overplaying their hand. And I think that's why you're starting to see, well, we have an independent counsel and things are starting to throttle back a little bit, but they're overplaying their hand, Steve. I couldn't agree more. All right, guys, now here we go. Let's do this. Strategic mindset. My strategic mindset is neutral, okay? I'm not bearish. I don't think we implode here. I'm not bullish. I don't think we continue this hopium rally, right? Whatever happened to sell in May and go away? It ain't. And I'm not volatile. I don't think this was volatile around here. Okay, so I'm neutral. I'm kind of cautiously neutral. But I'm going to tell you, see the right side of this chart where it's all white over here? What is to the upside? The Trump tax reform. Steve Mnuchin said that ain't going to happen this year, folks. That's one of, remember how many times we had I think this was it right here, or one of them was, next week, huge announcement on tax reform. Huge, baby, biggest ever. Next week. Yeah, okay, maybe the week after. Okay. Infrastructure spending, maybe next year. Going to build a wall. No, that didn't happen. I'm going to label China a currency manipulator. Didn't happen. So, folks, the upside here is what? Good corporate profits, Wiz? Well, we had semi-decent earnings season, but there's not too much you can write to the right side of this chart up here. Down here, you can put nuclear war, OPEC, Russia. There are so many things down here that you could put. The risk is to the downside. So this morning, when I did a 10 a.m. webinar with some potential new members called Options Weapon School, I'm getting bullish on volatility. Let's take a look at the VIX, our quote unquote fear gauge, right? That's the altimeter. The mean, the long-term mean of the VIX, folks, is a 20. We're down here, we're underneath 10. Look at what has been the resting heart rate for a while, 11. And look at how volatility works, folks. It's a heart rate monitor. Something happens to freak the market out, and then it goes away. Oh my God, now we're really freaked out, and then it goes away. Comey memo, he's going to be impeached. No, he's not. Folks, right now, look at this. We're below our resting heart rate of 11, and we're down to 10. Look at what happened the last time volatility was down here at 10. A reporter with a memo they haven't seen and an anonymous source caused the VIX to go from underneath 10 to 15 and a half. Unbelievable, right? Exactly, RB. Yeah, the Seth Rich thing, I won't even get into. It's disgusting. They had that guy killed, man. I'm no tinfoil hat wearing guy on the exit ramp of I-95. They had him killed. So write this down. When vol is cheap, you buy it. When vol is expensive, you sell it. Ladies and gentlemen, the VIX doesn't stay elevated for long. This is like me on the treadmill when the market closes today at a 10 incline at 10 miles an hour. I can do it for about a minute, and then I need to get back down here to my resting heart rate, okay? So let me take you through my trade plan real quick. Strategic mindset, cautiously neutral. Target, I use the VXX. I could give you an hour lecture on why you should not be trading VIX versus VXX and how contango and all sorts of stuff with VXX are bad. You got to join. I had zero time to explain it all to you, but a good proxy for trading volatility is VXX. Okay? Yeah, exactly. I'm going to lose my sponsors like Sean Hannity did. Thankfully, I don't. I sponsor myself, and we do pretty good at it here at TGO. So I'm going to use VXX. That's my target. Commit criteria. I think I just kind of gave it to you for 15 minutes, but it should be 3 to 5 sentences. I believe that something is going to happen to freak the market out in the next 2.5 weeks. What is it, Wiz? I don't know, man. I just briefed you on a boatload of stuff that could freak the market out. So it's the unknown unknowns, the Donald Rumsfeld. Look at the track record. Freak out, back. Freak out. Oh my God, everything's great. Freak out. There will be something that freaks the market out. My call sign's with, it's not Nostradamus. I can't predict what it's going to be, but in my strategic and operational brief, I just gave you what they could be, okay? Now, the trade that I put on today, it's called a bullish double vertical. You ready for this? So everybody take a screenshot and everything like that. Let me ask you all a question, and I'm not being facetious and talking like a jerk. You ready? Wiz, you had me at hello. I do think volatility is going to spike in the next couple weeks, and I don't know why either. Great, awesome. Let me ask everybody in here a question, and I want everybody to respond. If you think something is going to go up, Wiz, I think volatility is going to go up in the next couple weeks. What do you also think it's not going to do? Answer. If you think something is going to go up, what is true of the converse? Answer. Not going to move on until I get some audience participation here. Exactly. I know it's a stupid. It seems like a stupid exercise. You don't think it's going to go down. Exactly, Scott. So if you think something's going to go up as an options trader, what can you do? Well, Wiz, I know I could probably buy a bull call spread. You could, and then I'd laugh at you and mean it. A bull call spread, folks, is also called what? A debit spread. Yes, Pam. Yes, Walter. I hate debit spreads. I hate paying for anything, folks. I live in Boca Raton, Florida. I'm cheap. So if you think something's going to go up, you can do a bull call spread. But if you don't think it's going down, why wouldn't you put on a bull put spread with it? I'm seeing a lot of light bulbs, man, starting to pop on. This bull put spread is also called what? A credit spread. Hold on, Wiz. I'm starting it. I'm putting 2 and 2 together. I can put on a bull put spread, which is a credit spread, and it can pay for the debit spread. Give me a big vertical head nod if you can see this. I got paid to put on this trade today. This, I took in a credit. Somebody came in, the USAA guy, the State Farm dude with his deep voice, came into my kitchen today and said, you know what, Wiz, I'm going to pay you to get long volatility for the next 2.5 weeks. I'm gonna pay for your auto, home, and life for the next 2.5 weeks. How many of you would take that? Duh, all of us would. So check this out. This is a net credit spread. So take a look at the picture. A bullish double vertical is simply 2 vertical spreads on top of each other with the same strategic mindset. In this case, I'm bullish on volatility. Now, a lot of you might be sitting there getting a little confused, like, wait a minute, but if the market that's bear, no, folks, if the market implodes, obviously it's quote bearish. But if volatility explodes, you want to be bullish on volatility. Everybody good? Vertical head nods. So this is the bull put spread. I sold 150 contracts. Why 150, Wiz? Give me 1 minute and I'll tell you. I'm selling 150 of the 13.5 puts and buying the 13s as a hedge. What do you mean a hedge? Folks, let's say next week, Jesus, Muhammad, Ganesh, and I don't know, Buddha come back to life. Volatility goes to 0. Peace, love, and understanding breaks out. Well, the VXX is going to implode, folks. Volatility is going to go to nothing. So we want to have some disaster puts underneath this. This is a bull put spread. Now I'm going to turn around and use some of the credit that I took in and buy the 14.5, 15 bull call spread. 150 contracts, Wiz. Why'd you do that? Risk. Everybody, I hope nobody looked at my little smiley face dude first. Everybody should have looked at this guy first. Max potential loss. I'm going to teach you when you become a member at TGO, Top Gun Options, that we have SOPs, standard operating procedures. In my model portfolio, my $100,000 model portfolio, one of my SOPs is I don't want to risk more than $5,000 on any one trade. Why? Why not? That's me. I've been doing this for literally a quarter of a century, 25 years. That's my number. You might be 2.5%. You might be 10%. You sign for the jet, folks. You're your own pilot in command. I can't tell you what your max risk is. You're getting to eavesdrop over the shoulder of a professional trader like me and take a look at my SOP. And then you copy and paste and make up one of your own. Change puppy and make it small dog. I don't care, but you have to have an SOP. So this is perfect right here. This doesn't exceed my $5,000 in max potential loss. Ladies and gentlemen, an options trader, a fighter pilot, the first thing we look at is how can I get my ass kicked? How can I get killed on this mission? What is my max loss? And if you ain't cool with it, either don't do it or reduce the contracts. Now, after I give myself a vertical head nod and say, you know what, I'm okay with this risk. Now I can look at Mr. Happy Face. $10,300. If something happens in the next couple weeks to freak the market the hell out, this trade could potentially make over $10,000. I'm going to tell you, in and out of the Brexit, in 3 days, one of our portfolios, we made 22 grand on 2 trades. Literally like this. It was an 11 grand in as volatility spiked in front of the Brexit vote. And then what happened? Before they even announced the results, I got out of the bullish double vertical and I did what? I rolled inverted and did just take this picture and swap it around. I did a bearish double vertical because volatility is going to, you ever hear of the vol smash, the volatility crush, the vol crush? Here's a blinding piece of wisdom for y'all. When something is known, it's known. So the volatility goes up on uncertainty and it smashes with certainty. So I'm going to teach you how with these trades to be a little bit early, folks, because if you're late and you don't put on a bearish double vertical, you just missed a whole nother potential 11 grand, folks. Okay, like the Comey memo. The next day, what was it, Thursday or Friday? I told in my services, I'm like, get bearish on volatility. It spiked. The dude ain't getting impeached. They own the White House, the Senate, and the House. It ain't happening. And what happened? Volatility smashed down below 10 again. Okay, so Now we can take a look at the probabilities. Using current at-the-money volatility, there's a 21% chance of max profit, a 37% chance of max loss. Well, Wiz, those probabilities seem kind of low. Well, folks, they're showing you the best and worst case scenario. Well, look at this, is what should put a real smile on your face, is there's a better than half, a 55% chance of what? At least breaking even. So this trade, folks, literally can help you sleep better at night. Yeah, I got some nice longs on here. I got it. Here's an Apple weekly options trade, guys. It's up $1,000, 150, 152.5 bull put spread. This is going to make $1,200 since Monday. It's a great looking trade right there. I placed that trade Monday, guys. Anybody like making $1,200 in a couple of days? So volatility, Edward, I leave these trades on. Let me give you an example. Last week, I put on a VXX trade about the same type of trade 2 weeks ago, right around here. And last Tuesday, I remember in one of my live trading sessions, a bunch of my members said, hey, Wiz, are you going to roll this trade or up or out or maneuver with it? I'm like, no. I said, with my luck, folks, it's Tuesday. This trade expired Friday. Let me show you, Edward. Men lie, numbers don't. Let me pull up the trade from last week. VXX. Is it this one? Nope. Oh man, where is it? Here it is. So everybody look at this. This expired last Friday. It made, look at you see $8,225? That was a one-day gain in this trade. This trade was actually losing money. On Tuesday morning, people said, hey, Wiz, this trade's underwater. I said, guys, it's Tuesday. I am long volatility. I said, with my luck, something's going to happen Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday that's going to freak the market out. I am sticking to my commit criteria, and I'm sticking to my strategic mindset. Learn your discipline, folks. And people are like, oh, okay. What happened? Thursday, the market freaked the hell out, and this trade went from being down like $2 or $3 grand to up $3,200. And the next day, I think I actually closed it for like a $5 grand profit. So Edward, it was a good question, but this is kind of like those Ronco ovens, right? Set it and forget it type of thing. It was Harry. Harry's one of my members. He snuck in here. Harry said it was a Braveheart moment. Everybody remember the movie Braveheart? And, hold. Here it is right here. So every once in a while, I have to send this out to my members. And I got a couple emails from folks like, you know what, Wiz? You nailed it. I didn't listen to you. I maneuvered or I got out of it or whatever, and you were right. Something did happen that later in the week to freak the market the hell out. Why didn't I listen to you? So very good question, but I usually don't maneuver with these, Edward, okay? Love that name. My first name is Edward. Edward Matthew Buckley. All right, folks. Yeah, I'll put that back up. Whoever just asked. Wiz, can you show me that trade again? Here it is. I'll open it up so you can see the actual strikes. But, and again, folks, something is going to happen, man. This is nuts. The guy, Maxine Waters ain't going away. We have an independent counsel. It might be a little quiet for a while, but you still have a potential nuclear war on the peninsula. One of our naval ships sailed yesterday through Chinese territorial waters, which under Obama now extends 600 miles off the coast of China. Can you believe that? Don't even get me started about that guy. China picked a bunch of dirt up from China, sailed 600 miles into the middle Pacific, found some atolls at low tide, dumped their dirt on there and built a runway and said, now this is China. And we let them do that? We're going to let them control the Pacific, folks? There's a lot of things out there that can go bump in the night. I didn't even mention Iran. Do you know that North Korea and Iran, you might as well just interchange their uniforms? They are sharing all the missile technology and the nuke stuff. You know why Iran's being quiet right now? Because they're watching North Korea. If he's allowed to keep his nukes, what do you think Iran's doing? What do you think Iran's doing anyway, folks? Thank you, President Obama. The guy flies unmarked airplanes full of billions of euros and gives it to Iran. Well, we couldn't send dollars because it would be illegal. Are you freaking kidding me? Don't get me started, man. Obama, the shit that guy left us in, man, we are in a world of hurt here. Iran has already told us, yeah, when we get a nuke, we're going to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. You want to see the market go to zero? It's going to be based on world events, guys. So sorry for the rant, but you got to know my mindset and why I'm putting these things on. Okay? So Obama was a Soros puppet to weaken the U.S. He did a great job. RB, it sounds like you and I could share a beer, man, because I Couldn't agree more. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a quick brief on, because some of you are like, hey, how do I'm in the middle of options weapons school. The last session I'm doing is tomorrow. I'm going to do a weekly options live trade brief tomorrow afternoon at 1. So I'm not even going to pitch you on a 2-week test flight or any of that stuff. Why don't you, I just, if you're interested in learning how to trade weekly options or anything like that, Renee, this will just be the link if you want to, or I can pop it in here. If you guys want to register for my final session tomorrow at 1, why don't that'll be my offer to you guys. And if you haven't, if you want to watch the replays, here's the replay of the VXX trade I did this morning. Okay, so since Renee's got a great group of speakers kind of back to back, I went through that a little quick, so you can kind of go through it all that you want. Let me. All right, I guess it goes to Renee. If you can retweet or however you said it, if you can put those 2 links to the folks, I would appreciate it. Let me talk about trade management. Whoever asked that, it's a good question. So with this trade, if I see in the next, let's say we wake up tomorrow after this trade's on and something really awful has happened and volatility, we get a big spike out of vol. Here's a couple ways I could manage this trade. The first thing I could do is what? Close it. Like the guy in the song said, go on, take the money and run, right? So we could take some profits. The other thing I could, you see this blue line? That's the VXX. Let's just say something happens, Comey memo number 2, I have a signed document from Adolf Hitler, volatility spikes. What I could do, this bull call spread, do you see this right here? It's, what do I call it? A debit spread. I hate debit spreads. So if it's profitable, remember we get, theta eats away at a debit spread. It's called time decay. If you go to the Maserati dealer down here in Fort Lauderdale with your midlife crisis and peel out of the parking lot, you immediately get hit with what? The time decay, okay? So if we get a big spike in vol between now and when this trade expires, maybe you close the debit spread and let your bull put spread ride. A credit spread loves theta, right? We love time decay. You're the house. You're the MGM Grand, man. But folks, casinos don't look the way they do because they're a charity or car dealerships. The third way to potentially manage this trade is, Wiz, big spike in vol. You were right. It was one of the things you briefed us on. Big spike in vol. I'm making some money. Well, Wiz did, yo soy me, 150 contracts. Maybe if we get a big spike in vol, I take 75 of them off. Go on, take the money and run, like the guy said in the song, and I leave the other 75 on to let them ride, man. So whoever asked that, it was a good question. Again, a very abbreviated session for me. I would get, matter of fact, if you do sign up for our options weapons school, I give an 8-session, it's training right here. Here's 8 sessions that you get if you sign up for options weapons school. Sessions 1 through 8. So you see this one right here, session 6. I'll spend an hour and a half to 2 hours just on the double vertical, folks. So that's what I'm going to offer for you guys. So I mean, if worse comes to worse, and you're like, wow, you had me at hello, you can go to my homepage, topgunoptions.com, and if you're a skier, well, even if you're not a skier, you probably recognize the international ski slope symbols. You can scroll down and you can do a couple test flights for 2 weeks. But I strongly recommend just stop by my options weapons school session tomorrow. Go.topgunoptions.com/OWS. Okay, and Renee did a good job of putting in the replay page as well. Last night at 8 p.m., 7 p.m., I did an Apple Iron Condor training session last night, so you can watch that as well. And then Tuesday, I talked about Apple, SPX, and Goldman Sachs trades. So all the replays are on this page, okay?